Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking another look at construction on the new Operations and Maintenance Center 4, also known as OMC 4. Located in Coquitlam off of North Road and south of Highway 1, this $300 million project started major construction in late 2023 with an expected completion date of 2027. OMC 4 will add much needed storage capacity for the new 5-car Mark V trains that will start going into service later this year. As of May 2024, 47 new Mark V trains have been ordered, with the first having arrived for testing in late 2023. The new trains will add capacity to the existing network, as well as add additional capacity for both the Broadway subway and Surrey-Langley extensions, as well as replacing the oldest 150 Mark I cars which are being retired over the next few years. If you have traveled between Lougheed and Sapperton stations recently, then you've experienced the reduced service levels while trains single track between Braid and Lougheed station. If you've wondered why, it's because of the switches that are being added and replaced on the guideway to access the existing pocket track. On the inbound track, the one currently closed, the east end simple turnout switch has been completely removed. From above, we can see the bare concrete of the guideway with the rail, center limb rail, signal cables, and power rails removed. This is where the first half of an equilateral turnout will be installed. Equilateral turnouts will allow the center pocket track to switch to either inbound or outbound tracks. Both ends of the pocket track will be upgraded to this style of switch, allowing for 4 access points instead of the current 2. This will help trains traveling into or out of service to quickly join the main line without having to stop and change directions multiple times. The work will be done in 2 phases. The first phase, happening now on the inbound track, has already removed the old switch. Next, part of the concrete parapets on both ends will be removed to make room for the new connections from the pocket track to both inbound and outbound tracks. This type of configuration can be found in many places throughout the network. Once done, service patterns will then change again with trains single tracking on the inbound track, while the remaining halves of each switch are installed on the outbound track. At the same time, in the second phase, 2 more new switches will also be installed on the south side of the outbound track to access the flyover, which will be built soon. If you're wondering how we know all of this, it's because a kind viewer sent in a high-resolution plan of the site. While it's dated summer 2022, the plan seems to be pretty accurate to what's happening already. That being said, while in the process of finishing up this video, a post on the TransLink Buzzer blog shows a different design that conflicts with the drawings. After discussing it with a few people in the know, we're all a bit puzzled. Anyways, moving on. While you can't see the work going on while riding the SkyTrain, Tenby Street on the north side of Highway 1 has a good vantage point for observing the action. The area directly beside the guideway has been cleared of debris and has been built up to provide a large level working area using a combination of crushed rock, geotextile fabric, and lock blocks to mechanically stabilize the area. 6 new columns will be built here, running beside the existing line to support the extra 2 tracks that lead to the flyover. Those 6 columns will then be joined to the existing columns to form one large structure. Another 9 columns will be built to support the flyover and approaching structure to the yard. It appears that a large part of the flyover will be made out of steel, as it's a rather tight curve and long span over the BNSF rail yard, with the entire yard being straddled by one section of flyover. It'll be interesting to see how they install the flyover over the yard, since the train traffic is almost non-stop. On the main site, a Metro Vancouver water main that runs under part of the site has been replaced. Those large yellow pipes that were fenced off last time were for the replacement project. On the site plans, we can see where the water main runs directly under several future tracks in the yard. Metro Vancouver also has a large sanitary sewer running alongside the site, but it doesn't appear to interfere with the yard. The deep foundations that were poured late last year for the approaching columns haven't seen any work since last time. They're sitting there with covers protecting them from the elements, waiting for the next phase of construction to begin. Preloading is still underway for both the main maintenance facility and a second smaller building on the northwest corner of the site. Another service building with a wash track and cleaning facilities doesn't need to be preloaded, as that area of the site previously had buildings on it. We now also have good quality renders of what the maintenance and smaller service buildings will look like when complete. Fingers crossed that we'll see a full render of the flyover soon. On the south side of the site, remediation work alongside the Burnett River has been completed. After a couple of growing seasons, this area should provide great habitat for local wildlife. Over at Braid Station, the change in service pattern with some trains terminating at Braid has led to some very interesting rail conditions. The rail east of Braid on the closed track has rusted over from a lack of use, not something we're used to seeing on the SkyTrain network. Looking a little further down the track, we can see where a bumping post is in place to protect the workers further up the line. Back in the station, signage for the change in service patterns is hard to miss. Given the scope of the ongoing work, we've gotten off pretty lucky with how little the service has been reduced. Sure, it can be inconvenient at times when you've just missed a train and must wait 12 minutes for the next one, but at least it's not a bus bridge for the next 2 years. Anyways, that sums up this quick look at construction on OMC4 in May of 2024. I'm also working on a video about long-term planning that should be out sometime this summer, so stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.